Before you spend your weekend bouncing between model homes, I want you to see what Cleveland builders are actually offering right now, because the numbers that you see online, they don't tell the full story. Some builders are advertising these low teaser rates that reset much faster than what you realize. Others are quietly offering permanent buydowns. And then you have some that are taking price reductions off of their quick move-in homes. I went through every major builder here in Northeast Ohio, pulled incentives straight from their sites and from the reps themselves, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what they are offering right now, what's legit, what has changed, and what situation is going to be the best fit for you. What's going on? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And I track these builder incentives every single month. I'm in constant contact with the reps almost on a weekly basis, and I help buyers navigate this whole process from start to finish, because rates change, incentives disappear, and you need to know exactly what is going on, because new construction right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, is going to have the absolute overall best deal. And I want you to have complete clarity, and it's the same reason why I created the Builder's Guide that many others love, because it gives you the clarity that you should have before even stepping foot into one of these model homes. If you want that for free, all you got to do is just drop Builder's Guide in the comments below, and I'll get that right over to you. So before we get into the actual incentives, I want you to have complete clarity on this whole process. And it sounds simple with the builder incentives, but they're not, because before you compare builders, you need to understand what's actually being offered, who qualifies, and how each incentive really works over time for you. And that's exactly what we are going to end up looking at. So what you see advertised when you see rates as low as, or save up to, or limited time incentives, that's all stuff to grab your attention. But they rarely tell you the full story and what you actually receive. And they make the fine print like super small way at the bottom. All they want to do is get you in the front door, and you're just going, whoa, I could get a rate this low? That's all they're trying to do. What it actually means is these offers are conditional. They rarely apply to every buyer or every home. And details depend on the lender, the home type, timing, and eligibility. So that fine print is what really gets people. Now, how do these actually work? So there's different categories that these fall into, and there's financial implications and benefits for all of them. Temporary rate buy down. These are low interest rates for typically the first to 3 years. Sometimes it's just 1 and 2 years that they do it, and then it adjusts to a specific market rate that they have in place, or the current market rate that is in place. Now, this will give you reduced initial payments, but they increase at a later date. Permanent rate buy downs. This is one-time upfront payment that permanently reduces your interest rate for the entire of the loan, which gives you that consistent savings. Price reductions. This is just discounts on quick move-in homes or select inventory. All the builders, you're not going to see price reductions on homes that are not built, that you pick out from scratch. That's just not going to happen. They're going to say, okay, here's the base price. Let's start adding in some, whatever upgrades, whatever needs to be done. Credits and upgrades. These are builder credits that go towards your options upgrades or your closing costs. And the nice thing is that it's flexible to move them however you need, or even reduce upfront cash needs. But again, they all vary. It depends on your financial goals, your timeline, and how long you plan on staying in the home. Now, the rules behind it. Preferred lender requirement. Pretty much all these incentives you're gonna have to use the affiliated mortgage company that is with the builder. Shopping rates elsewhere, there's a good chance it's going to void everything. Now, there is some lenders that I know will match exactly what the builders are giving you, but you got to go through the whole process of getting qualified with the builder's lender, and then getting qualified with whatever lender you choose who's going to match it. And then you typically have to send over documents for them to make sure you're not just blowing smoke. Promotional window. Closing must occur within a specific time frame. Construction delays or financial issues can push you outside eligibility, so you want to make sure this stuff is locked in place. Home selection limits. Incentives often apply only to specific homes, communities, or floor plans. It's not the whole builder inventory. It just really, again, It depends. This is all stuff that you need to watch for. Credit and income guidelines. So qualification does depend on you meeting the minimum credit scores, the debt to income ratios, and other lending standards like down payments, whatever is ending up needed. Sometimes for custom builders, you have to own the land outright in order to receive a certain incentive. But keep in mind, though, is that missing even one of these requirements can significantly change or completely remove the incentive, especially when it comes to the rates. So that's why they always say as low as, because that's going to be, you have XYZ in place. That's how you get the lowest rate. Now, questions to ask that are going to protect you. Is it available on all homes or only select inventory? You need to know what you're getting when it comes to whatever incentive that you're looking at with whichever builder you're speaking to. What lender is required to access it? Again, this is pretty much their preferred lenders, but there's some custom builds where they have multiple lenders from different mortgage companies. Does it stack with other offers or replace them? This one is huge. Some incentives are mutually exclusive. If you accept one, it can forfeit another, or vice versa. But then sometimes you can use multiples towards it. It's all stuff that you got to know up front before you sign anything. And what happens if rates drop before closing? You want to get this stuff locked in. Plain and simple. What is basically, when do I need to have this signed and locked in so I know that my rate is good to go and it's not going to change, because they can change quite rapidly. Now, why it matters is because you get lower upfront payments. And again, this is all based on your situation and what your goals are. But some buyers that I come across, they prioritize minimizing initial out-of-pocket costs and monthly payments. And then there's long-term payment stability. I have some that have preferred consistent, predictable payments through the life of the loan, which would be like a permanent rate buy down. And then the short-term versus long-term value. Keep in mind, some of these look attractive right out of the gate, but then they cost you way more over time. So there's a lot that gets involved with this whole process. And it's so overwhelming at times. And it just makes you think like, what the heck? Understanding the structure, though, and doing the math, that's the most important thing. Do not get swayed by the headlines that you end up seeing. But let's get into it. Drees Homes, their current incentive. They have a 1-year temporary rate buy down on available homes across different locations. 3-2-1 buy down structure on select move-in homes. And their select move-in homes, they may include pricing incentives. You just really have to check on that. So the structure of the 3-2-1 buy down is actually year one is 3.375, then it bumps up to a 4, then it bumps up to a 5, and then years 4 through 30 is a 6.3. By this point at year 4, with the way rates are moving, as long as there's nothing catastrophic that happens or changes in our economy or in our world, you're going to end up refinancing by this point, whether it be after year 2 or whether it be after year 3. It just depends on what all happens of what's going on, because right now it's projected that the 30-year fixed rate that's been lingering around a 6.2 is going to be below 6 or come springtime. There is that possibility. So we're hopeful on that one. Key requirements: you must finance through first equity mortgage. Offers vary by community and inventory. And then you got to close within that promotional window. Now with Pulte Homes, currently, they're running a temporary rate buy down on select communities. Some of them, the first year rate is a 3.99. Others, it's a 4.5. So if you wanted to go to the Highlands of Sharon, that's down over by Wadsworth area, you're looking at the 3.99. If you go to their Brecksville community, it's a 4.5. So it just depends on the community itself. But there is thousands off select quick move-in homes as well. But that's all based off of which community you're looking at. Now, big update that I do want to let you know, this is actually 1% higher than previous months. The past few months, they had a 2.99, and then it would finalize for the remainder of the loan at a 4.99 for years, I believe, 3 through 30 for their select move-ins. That's no longer available, so they bumped their rates up. There's another builder that bumped their rates up by a little bit as well that I'll show you here momentarily. but it's all based on the communities when it comes to the current incentives. And you must use Pulte Mortgage to access all these incentives as well. And it's going to be a common theme with every single one of these builders. KHOV right now, they actually are running a 7-6 arm structure. Now, just you got to be mindful of this one. This one can get you. You got to be very careful and pretty much make sure you set a reminder in your calendar for when the date comes. The advertised rate is a 3.75, which is phenomenal. And you get that for the first 7 years. Here's what you got to watch for. After that 7th year, it adjusts every 6 months based on market conditions. So if that rate, it's going to be market rate at that point. So if it's at a 5, you're going to be paying a 5. If it goes up after 6 months to a 5.3, you're now at a 5.3. So this can be very, very dangerous if you're not paying attention, and depending on what happens with the market. Flex cash equivalent offered on select homes and inventory specific promotions reset monthly. Keep that in mind. Like, that's most builders. You do have to use their mortgage company. It applies to select homes sold and closed by February 28th. So you basically have until the end of the month to lock in the house, because typically it's a 30-day close. Excuse me. Incentives are inventory specific and subject to availability. Now, that's that danger period. You got to really, I can't stress that enough. If you're going to do a 7-6 arm structure, make sure you have that in your calendar to notify you. Now, getting to some custom builds. Schumacher, savings and options and upgrades that they have going on. You can get up to $50,000 in options and upgrades through their current promotion, which is fantastic. They were running here, and I have it right here, a promotional fixed rate that was a $399 for the life of the loan. That was huge. It's gone now. Now they're just advertising $50,000 in options and upgrades, which is fantastic, but it depends on which model home you decide to build is how much you're going to get. You may only get $20,000, which is still a substantial amount, but you really have to watch, because sometimes they'll take this stuff, these incentives, and they'll build it into the house somehow, some way, or with the upgrades or the options that you are adding. And that's why I always say, get representation from a realtor who knows ins and outs of new construction, because the builder reps, they're phenomenal people. They're super nice, but they work for the builder and the builder's interest. They still have the YOMO, the You Only Move Once program is what they're calling it. It's basically a bridge loan. So they do still have that option available to you as well. And then the financing highlights, this is huge. If you are a veteran, you got VA financing, you could have up to 100% loan to value. And then FHA, you could have up to 96.5% loan to value, but that one is credit dependent. You got to really watch with that one. But those are great options to get you into a brand new custom built home, and you don't have to put a substantial amount of money down out of pocket, which is huge right now. Now, Wayne Homes, they have a permanent rate buy down. So I got an example right here, and it's higher than it used to be. It's at best, they're advertising a 6% rate. The previous several months, it was a 5.75%. So it went up quarter of basis points that they went up on it. And I made the mistake. I accidentally put percentages. These are actually dollar amounts to kind of show you exactly what is going on with all of this. So if you were to put down, say, about $4,000, you get a 6.625% rate, and you're going to save $112 a month. If you put down $8,000, you're going to end up saving $186 per month, and you're going to have a 6.375 permanent rate on the life of the loan. And if you put down $11,000 some dollars, we'll call it 12, you're going to be at a 6%, and you're going to save $296. Permanent rate buy downs are fantastic if you're going to be in the house for a long period of time. Like if you're moving in 5 years, it really isn't going to make any sense. Now, what you want to do though, if you want to get that 6% and you want $296 of savings, you want to make sure that you're going to get ROI on this before you move. What is that return of your investment? How long is it going to take? And that goes with any type of buy downs. Make sure you are going to accumulate that ROI within the time frame before you plan on moving. Now with Diyanni, I always advertise them just because I have still yet to find. I am trying so hard to find a better standard package and better warranties overall that are out there. And I have yet to find them. Now, they don't really have like big promotions, but they do have multiple lenders that they work with and are preferred. And you might get, like $500 off of closing costs or so. Like they have some form of incentives. It's just nothing as tremendous as like some of the other builders. But again, some of these other builders are putting that back into the house somehow, some way. It's almost like they're sneaking it into the house. Like you're saving money, but you're not saving money as well. It's like going and trying to buy a car. They're manipulating the Foursquare thing and just moving like numbers around to make it look good. But they do have industry leading standards. Their gold package is phenomenal. Like you can get 10 different colors of granite, if I'm not mistaken. They have James Hardy board is their standard now. Like they are superior with their standard package. And a lot of clients that I sit down with at Diyanni themselves, once we start pricing out multiple builders, their standard package is what other builders they're upgrading for the same cost. So you're getting a much better build overall, and like you're getting far superior warranties for the same price. Again, this is custom build. This is built on your lot though. And they do have a flexible price range considering like their homes. I believe their cheapest one is like $440 or so. So they start in the 400s, but they do build multi-million-dollar luxury homes. Like they're currently building like an 11,000 square foot house in Northeast Ohio right now. So even if you are a high-end luxury client, you can still get a great home built by Diyanni and have one of their best like industry leading warranties is a 30-year structural warranty, which is huge because they use structural support for the first floor joists throughout the whole house. That's a standard, which is nuts. And you're going to see this with all the other custom builders too. They're going to have reputation for quality. So that's what they're like focused on. They're not focused on, hey, here's a great deal for you. But you're going to see it between Diyanni, Parkview, Petros, Perino Brothers, Payne and Payne. Those are just some of the top-notch custom builders here in Northeast Ohio. And finding your best fit really depends on your financial situation, your timeline, and what is your long-term goals. If you are going to have income growth or you're going to refinance, or maybe it's even you're going to move in 6 to 8 years, temporary buy down might be something that is right up your alley and it's going to look great. If you're planning on doing like a downsizing or this is like your final home essentially, hopefully, you're going to want to look into a permanent rate buy down of some sort and get that long-term value. And then if you want pure quality and you're not so concerned about all the flashy incentives and the shiny objects that are being thrown out in front of you, then you're going to look at some of your more custom build homes. Obviously, there's only a couple of them that have developments, but the majority of the custom builds, they're all built on your lot. So you do have to find a lot to end up building, like say with Diyanni. They don't build developments of any sort. It's all standalone homes on your lot. Now, if you want representation, you want the guidance, you want my knowledge in construction, because I do bring 15 years of construction experience to the table with these newly built homes. I've seen it all. I've worked on production. I've worked on Drees, Pulte, Ryan's. I've worked on custom builds in the area as well. I've literally have seen it all. And I have people just like you that reach out to me every single week, either posing questions or asking to represent them through the build process, find them land, figure out what builder is truly going to be the best fit. And I'm there for all the meetings, except like when you go to pick out your colors, your faucets, things like that. When you get down to the nitty gritty, that's your time. I don't need to be there for that, but I will be there from start to finish. And by start to finish, I mean when that house is completed and you get keys, I'm going to be there every step of the way and making sure that the house is being built to code and done right. But if you want my help and you want to go down that avenue, 440-364-7823 is my number. Again, if you want that builder's guide to have complete clarity on the build process, because it is overwhelming, just put builder's guide in the comments below and I'll gladly get that over to you. If you got any value whatsoever from this, hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. And if you're new to my channel or if you've been watching and you haven't done it yet, be sure to click subscribe and turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on all my monthly builder incentives that I got coming up throughout this whole year, because new construction is going to give you the best overall deal throughout the whole year compared to anything else.